my vision for global social work, but through a more mental health perspective, since my background is in psychology. So, you know, as social workers, we want a world where everyone is accepted and has the same rights because everyone is human, referring to the Declaration of Human Rights, you know, that the US took forever and a day to sign. And I also would like all social workers in every country that they have all on the same page, so we all have similar regulations, resources, and we can really go across borders and seas in order to help each other in those respects. So to go a little deeper, why is mental health so important? You know, services are so, I don't know, they're just not there. Mostly mental health services are just in hospitals, especially when I was walking around in Italy and Greece and Ireland. The mental health facilities are almost non-existent, and if they are existent, they're just in hospitals or on the more privileged side. So like in Chicago, for example, a lot of the mental health centers are on the north side, which is the more privileged, higher class, while people on the southern side and western sides really don't have that kind of service. So I'm gonna just go into a few examples why mental health is so important in the different parts of the world. I'm gonna go, I took 3 articles from what we read in class just to hit home the points about teen suicide, the Rwanda genocides and PTSD, and how terrorism and oppressive governments can really hinder mental health. So to start out with teen suicide, it has really taken to the front lines in popular culture recently with the release of the book to Netflix series 13 Reasons Why. For those who don't know what 13 Reasons Why is, it's the story of why a girl killed herself, and she gives 13 reasons why she did that. And although this is a main trigger warning and is kind of upsetting and receiving a lot of criticism, it is bringing up that important issue that people are talking about mental health now. It still is taboo and it still is a little, you know, not good to talk about, but it's really good that this is starting to bring forward. You know, and this issue of suicide, especially teen suicide, is not just a problem in the US. In the Pelkonen and Martinen article in 2003, they showed that teen suicide rates were increasing in almost every country, the most drastic being in all the Baltic states, Russia, Australia, and New Zealand. So therefore, this is a global problem. You know, be it teenage angst or just them not having the services. And actually some interesting statistics is that only 20 to 50% of the teens who did commit suicide were in any type of mental health service, whether that be counseling, medicine, anything like that. And only 5 to 20 were in the mental health services at the time of their death. So what this statistic tells me is that 1, there's not enough services, and 2, the services that there are not effective. And that is a major problem, and I believe that it's because there's just not enough services and not enough social workers that are advocating or have the resources to be the advocates. And just to go in a more global perspective, I'm going to talk about Rwanda and, you know, Syria and terrorism and trauma. With the different articles that we discussed, we saw that trauma has such a negative effect, and we're seeing it now just in Syria, not to mention Rwanda and the infantada like we talked about. And we just don't realize that, you know, not only is this affecting them now, but it's going to affect them 20, 30, 50 years into the future. And they don't have the services there, or the social workers, or the psychologists to help them through that. So their environment, they're already put at a disadvantage. So I would really just like to start putting just a couple of people in these areas like Syria and stuff like that, just so that they can start learning those coping mechanisms. like these children, they're babies, but they're still going to be affected by this. Like one of the articles that we read, I think it was by, I forget the name, but it was talking about how you need to take into account that, like our talk that we saw on last Thursday, that trauma is different for every person, and every person's experience is different. And the problem with society now is that we try to put everyone in a box. This treatment's going to help you because it helped this person, but every person, every culture, every tradition is different. And we're only going to move forward if we realize that and start educating ourselves about different cultures, about different traditions. Like I said, the PTSD post-genocide in Rwanda, that is also another just example of how we need to just realize that everyone's experience is different and that we need more services everywhere. So this is kind of my, boiled down thing. So what should we do? First, we need to lessen the stigma around mental health. People are so ashamed to admit that they have depression, anxiety, stuff like that, where you wouldn't be sad if you had the flu. It's a sickness. So why would you be ashamed that something is wrong with the chemical makeup of your brain? So first, we just need to lessen the stigma. Second, we need more coverage for mental health care. Most insurances do not cover just simple counseling. Or if they do cover counseling, you get 10 sessions. 10 sessions is not going to do much. I can speak from experience. So the coverage needs to be expanded and more people need to have it. Like I said, more resources available to lower income individuals and countries experiencing disasters. So more centers in Syria, in Iran, in Iraq, in just other Middle Eastern countries, in Egypt, and just point people to help these children and these people through their traumas, and they need to understand the culture that they are going into. And then, you can't really do this without government or UN support. There's not really much right now, so we do need more of that to start bringing up more programs, more facilities in order to help these people be resilient and get through their traumas. And that's it. Any questions?
Thank you. Thank you, Maureen. Thank you, Maureen.